Good morning. What's up, fellow Hoops fans? Welcome back to yet another episode of The Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV. And as always, we are brought to you by our good friends at topsport.com.au. Now it's Friday morning. BK, how are you, my friend?
It's Friday. Got to get down on Friday. What's up?
Got to get down on Friday. I don't know if anyone wants to see my moves on a Friday, though. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, my man. How you living?
I'm living good. You know what? I'll tell you some people that are not living good, BK. Chicago Bulls fans right now.
It was all good just a week ago.
It was all good just a week ago. Not some good news to wake up to this morning. Lonzo Ball will be out for a minimum of 6 weeks. This is on top of Zach LaVine missing some extended time. BK, are the Chicago Bulls in trouble right now?
Yes, they are. Because you've got Zach LaVine out 6 to 8 weeks. You've got Lonzo Ball out for another 6 weeks here. This is going to be a tough stretch for the Chicago Bulls because the Eastern Conference race is no joke this season.
No, it's not. And if you're a team like even Miami, who's climbed up the standings, but if you're a team like Miami, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, you're looking at this as like, all right, if we put a nice little string of wins together, we can maybe get that top seed and then, hold on to it until the playoffs start, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like there's even teams beyond that, like teams like the Charlotte Hornets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're not that far out of that race. And when you look kind of at that middle of the pack, there's a lot of teams that will be feeling like they can make it into the top four. Obviously, the Nets have got their injury concerns with Kevin Durant sidelined for about another 4 weeks. So. And obviously the Philadelphia 76ers still aren't running at full capacity. So there's room for some movement out there in the Eastern Conference. So I still think the Chicago Bulls, based off what we've seen from them this season with DeMar doing his thing, they'll be fine. But it's just how they weather that storm. And it's the Kobe Whites and the Alex Carusos. How can they kind of fill in the backcourt and I guess just keep the show going on until their two guys in LaVine and Ball get back.
Yeah, the Alex Caruso era has officially begun in Chicago. Let's go. BK, you mentioned Joel Embiid. I want to touch on Joel real quick because we did talk about him in depth with Kai Carlin on Wednesday. He had a 50-point game yesterday, which is a new career high. We've said it 1,001 times already. He's having an absolutely phenomenal stretch. 50 points. He did it in only 27 minutes. Fucking hell. Like that was absolutely phenomenal. Just to put up those numbers in that amount of time. Only Will Chamberlain and Allen Iverson have scored 50 points for the Philadelphia 76ers all time.
It feels like every time Joel's doing something, the record that's next to him is Will Chamberlain. Like if you're just putting your name casually alongside Will Chamberlain, I don't think we should be discounting just how wild that is, and I've been on Joel all season as one of the best guys there is in the league, and he's proving that over this last sort of month stretch. The number that jumped out at me was the 28 minutes because the last person to do that was Klay Thompson. He had 52 in 28 minutes. He hit 14 threes in that game. Joel
to get
hit
it done.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this guy went 17 of 23 from the field. Like he was just bullying on the schoolyard against the Magic. Shout out Mo Bamba. He kind of hit back there for the Magic, but there was nothing the Magic could do about Joel in that first quarter. He put up 20 and was just a bully.
And I feel like over this stretch, like I said, we've spoken about him a fair bit over the last couple of weeks. We keep mentioning, he's having a good 4-game stretch. And then we come on the next week and he's having a good 7-game stretch. He's having a good night. All of a sudden, we're going on to like a month of him now absolutely dominating this league.
And like you said, it's dominant. Like it's not like he's just playing good and his team's winning. Like it's resulting in winning. Like if there's not Joel, if Joel's playing at like his normal, level, which is already elite, I don't think the Sixers are anywhere near as, comfortable as they are this season because really, who else is playing well for the 76ers?
No one. No one. And they've had guys that have had stretches, but like consistently, there's been no one. And he's carrying that team. And like we spoke about this again earlier in the season. Is he going to run out of gas? And look, at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going to. And
he's getting stronger.
He's getting stronger. So more power to Joel Embiid. I hope that this continues on, and we have a great playoff stretch from him as well. We'll have to wait and see. BK, another big man that's having an incredible stretch right now is the big Serb, Nikola Jokic. Had a 49 point triple double yesterday. BK, 49 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals just for fun. You know what I mean? Led the Nuggets from 15 points back to win the game in overtime yesterday. BK, post game, Coach Mike Malone actually said, "Do you guys understand how much attention he gets? He gets double and triple teamed all game, and he has 49 points. If Nikola Jokic isn't the MVP, then who is?" My question to you, BK, is that a fair statement there from Coach Mike Malone?
I was about to say that's a great question, because it's hard to make an argument for anyone else. Just when you look at, if you just look at the numbers, like the numbers, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And Jokic is putting up numbers. The wins aren't necessarily there for them. The Nuggets, they're a 500 team. So that's kind of what is holding him back from really being like the runaway. Like if they were like a 3 seed or a 2 seed, like,
just hand it to him.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. But, you bring up an interesting point about the double teams. This guy had 49 points, and then on the last play of the game, is double teamed out on the perimeter. This guy's the best point guard in the league. Throws that skip pass to Aaron Gordon. Son, like you shouldn't.
That was ridiculous.
That.
Yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. I was watching that. I had to run that back at least 4 or 5 times, because I was just like, yo, this guy's vision is absolutely incredible for such a big guy as well. BK, I want to ask you this. They're obviously playing shorthanded, the Nuggets. No Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr. Does that help or hinder his MVP case? And I ask that because, he's obviously, without those guys, he's being asked to do a hell of a lot more. But with those guys, they probably win a lot more games as well and puts them up in the rankings. So does that help or hinder his MVP case that they're not there?
It's tough. It almost helps. I mean, he wouldn't necessarily have to be doing this much if he had those other guys out there. But, the last guy that we saw kind of being that I'm going to do everything for my team and put up historic numbers MVP, that was Russ, in 2016-17 when, I guess he averaged a triple-double. So history was definitely on his side there. But what Jokic is doing for mine is it's not quite there with what Russ did. But if you can be a 6 seed and then have the historic numbers, there's an argument there for you. But I think there's going to be guys on the 1, 2, 3 teams in each conference that, Giannis is low-key putting up crazy numbers. Like, even DeMar, what he was doing earlier, and KD before he got hurt. Like, there's other guys out there that have been killing and their teams are winning. So it's a tough one for Jokic, because I just can't really see them being a factor at the end of the season. I mean, we're just at the halfway point now. And I just don't know if they have a run that's going to make them, or I guess make him a more attractive MVP candidate. But, in terms of just what he's doing, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and look, in the meantime, it's fun to watch. I agree with you. Unless they get into that top 3-4 seeding in the West, which I don't see them doing, I don't think he's going to be a contender for the MVP. BK, I want to bring a little bit of levity to this conversation here, because we're going to show a clip right now from Brooklyn Nets assistant coach David Vanterpool. BK, yesterday during this game against the Washington Wizards, he deflected a pass. A Nets assistant coach deflected a pass during the 4th quarter of the game, which Washington ultimately lost by 1 point. The Nets were up 109-103 at the time of that interference. Obviously, they get a turnover, get the ball, win the game 119-118. BK, you actually pointed this out to me yesterday, and I was like, what did a Nets assistant coach do? And I had to go back and watch this thing, and I was like, yo, like, my man thinks he's at Rucker Park here. You just stick out hands on the court, do whatever you want, What the hell happened there?
Hey, the Jason Kidd legacy in Brooklyn lives on by any means necessary. But Kyle Kuzma was obviously pretty upset with the situation. In a game that you lose by 1 point, that hurts. That hurts, because Kyle Kuzma he's probably going to make that three in the corner. He's been doing that whole season.
Yeah, and even Nets acting coach Joseph Blair said post game that he goes, in my, I think, 20 odd years of being in basketball, I have never ever seen anything like that before. And listen, I've been in basketball maybe 10, 12 years, and yeah, I've never seen anything like that before either.
Well, the officials didn't even see it.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, they couldn't even bring that up for review, right? Because apparently there's no, there's no mechanism for it.
Yeah, what's going to trigger a review there? I think the coach hit the ball. Like it's just not something you see. So who knows? Maybe down the road that'll change. But
it's amazing that in this day and age, with so many cameras and angles and this and that, like we've seen 5 different angles of that replay. Since then they couldn't even trigger a review. But that was amazing. And like you said, the Jason Kidd legacy lives on. We'll have to see what the Nets coaches come up with next to waste some time.
Maybe if that game was in Brooklyn, they could get it on the Netaverse.
On the Netaverse, I like it. BK, we're going to move on to buying or selling. Now, this topic this week, Frank Vogel, unfortunately, he's in the hot seat with the Los Angeles Lakers, who are having a horrendous season, and it doesn't look like it's going to get better. BK, Lakers coach Frank Vogel should be sacked. Are you buying or selling this?
Do we really believe any of this is Frank Vogel's fault?
No.
I feel like he's going to be like Denzel in Training Day. You're going to do this to me? Like, I threw a chip in my first season? I mean, he's just doing the best he can with what he's got. And in his defense, they have not been healthy. Anthony Davis, their number 2 option, has barely played this season. He's still sidelined at the moment. The Russ experiment is, it's been a roller coaster to say the least. And look, the rest of the pieces that they brought in, this is a brand new team. Like there's a lot of new guys on this team. They've had a lot of interruptions with COVID and whatever else and injuries. So, I mean, I feel bad for Frank Vogel because, he came in as I'm going to fix this defense and we're going to be a defensive team. And then they traded all their defenders away. So come on, what do you want Frank Vogel to do here? But that doesn't change anything. We know the coach is always the fall guy in these kind of situations. Do you think the Lakers should make a change?
No, because like you said, I don't look, his rotations with the players that he's had have been pretty bad. So I think he's partly to blame in that regard, but he's trying to do the best with what he's got. Like you've said, there's been a lot of guys out, injured and all that sort of stuff. But in recent memory, BK, and the Miami Heat are the only team that comes to memory when they got rid of Stan Van Gundy and Pat Riley, came down from the front office to take over that team. But any team that's made a change, mid-season like this, especially a team that's like meant to be a championship contending team or at least a playoff contending team, they don't go on to win a championship, So what does making a change right now do for the Los Angeles Lakers? Nothing. And then it's like, who do you bring in? Kurt Rambis. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this guy still has a job in the NBA. Like, he's telling the Lakers to run a big lineup with DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard. Like, fam, what year are you living in? It's not 1972 anymore. You know what I mean? So if there was a Pat Riley waiting in the wings, I'd say, hey, maybe make a change. But at this point, no, I'm not buying this at all. Like, why even make a change right now? I think you just ride this season out. I think it's a lost season already. Whether you make the playoffs or not, you're going out in the first round. Ride it out. If you're going to make a change, make it in the off season.
And Jeannie Buss said that. I think it was back in December. She said they're not going to make any changes or look at anything like that until they get the roster healthy. And to this point, they haven't had the roster really healthy since then. I think it was December 7th. And that game against the Celtics, she said that. So, I mean, if Anthony Davis comes back, whenever he comes back in a few weeks' time and the Lakers actually see what they are at their full capacity, I think then if it's still not working, okay, maybe you want to make a change. But what are they going to do? Promote David Fizdale from assistant? That kind of seems like their best option.
Yeah, like I said, if it's a Fizz or a Rambus or these guys, like, just ride it out with Vogel. Like you said, if Anthony Davis comes back in a few weeks, and then you give it another, like, at that point, it's the end of the regular season anyway. Like, it's a lost season. So just ride it out with Vogel and then see what you're going to do in the off season. See who GM LeBron wants as his next coach and take it from there.
This really just brings back that decision they made to not pay Ty Lue when they had the chance. Because Ty Lue is coaching his behind off at the moment with a skeleton Clippers squad.
He is.
He's flexing that clipboard hard. So
yeah.
it's crazy. They could have had him. They just didn't want to pay up.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Like I said, write it out. Lost season anyway for the Lakers because they're not doing anything this year. BK, we're going to move on to the game predictions before we get out of here. Quiet night on the NBA slate today. Just 3 games. We're going to start off with the Phoenix Suns at the Dallas Mavericks here. Phoenix Suns, $1.71 favorite. Mavericks, 223. Lines at 2.5. Total at 216.5. They're live on ESPN. I'm sorry. BK, the Mavs are absolutely on fire right now. They've won 10 out of their last 11. Good win against Toronto yesterday. Luka Doncic, 41-14. Suns have won 4 in a row as well. They're on a 5-game road trip at the moment. Devin Booker coming off the back of a 48-point game. No DeAndre Ayton for the Suns, but JaVale McGee and Biyombo have been solid. Whew. Mavs playing on the second night of a back-to-back. This one should actually be pretty fun, I reckon. But you know what? I kind of like to think that the Suns are going to grind out a win here.
I'm with you. I think it'll be close because, like you said, the Mavs have been hooping, and not only they've been hooping, they're playing defense. This is not a defensive team. Like, I mean, they went from putting up like a historic offense last season to the offense being trash this season. But slowly but surely, Jason Kidd's actually got them playing defense. So I like what I've seen from this Mavs team of late. But I'm gonna just go with the Suns in a close one.
Yeah, the Suns lead the season series 2-0 on the Mavericks as well. Next game we've got up on the schedule. Here we go. The Pelicans at the Knicks. The Knicks are $1.57 favorites. Pelicans 251. Lines at -4. Total at 209.5. This one's live on NBA League Pass, BK. Both these teams have lost 2 in a row. Knicks have lost their last 2 in a row at home, actually, but the Pelicans are just 6-17 away from home. I hate to do it, but I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to win this one at home.
He's saying that with a lot of confidence. They lost a heartbreaker to the Timberwolves the other day at MSG. So let's hope they can atone for that one. I'm not picking the Pelicans to do anything.
Look, the Knicks played like trash against Charlotte. You know, that was following a nice little 3-game stretch that they had. Like you said, they lose a heartbreaker, but I just don't see them losing to the Pelicans at MSG. Next game we've got up on the schedule is the Pacers and the Warriors. Warriors $1.10 favorites. Pacers $7.75, and that is for good reason too. Lines at -13.5. Total at 216.5. Live on ESPN today, BK. The Warriors have been slipping back from the Suns a little bit. They're 2.5 games behind them in first there, but still no Draymond. GP2 questionable today. Pacers pretty horrible away from home, just 4-17. No Miles Turner, no TJ McConnell, no TJ Warren. Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb are both questionable for today, and I think that's why the Pacers are 7.75 there. So put your money on the Warriors comfortably.
775 after beating the Lakers. That's disrespect. But also fair enough.
Yeah. The Warriors are not the Lakers.
No. One of these things is not like the other. And
that's exactly right.
Shout out Klay Thompson. He's looking good. Like he was getting up some shots yesterday. He had his best performance of the season so far with that 21-point night. I'm excited to see him really get back and get going.
Yeah. Oh, Clay's going to get his shots.
Yeah. He's a magnet for the ball. He will find it, and you have about 2 seconds until he lets that thing go.
Like he said after that first game that he came back, he said, "I'm on a minutes restriction, not a shots restriction," which I thought was, yeah.
I love this guy.
And look, that's all the NBA games on the slate today. There's one NBL game tonight that we're going to take a quick look at as well. Brisbane Bullets, Sydney Kings here. Brisbane Bullets, $1.47 favorites. Kings 264. Line is at 5. Totals at 168. They're live on ESPN tonight as well. Brisbane are 3-3 on the season. Kings 3-5. This is the battle between 6th and 8th. Kings lost to Illawarra last week, but Brisbane had a nice little win over the Phoenix. BK, who do you like?
As a Sydney resident, it's tough to pick against my guys on the Kings, but I'll have to go with the Bullets in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Bullets at home, I think, get the job done. BK, we're going to see you again on Monday morning as usual, mate. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. I think you've got a couple of days off now, but enjoy the NBA games, I'm sure.
As always, my man, appreciate you.
We'll see you on Monday morning. This has been another episode of The Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV. And as always, we are brought to you by our good friends at topsport.com.au. We'll see you guys Monday morning.